But we just decided a few years ago, and I have to pay tribute to your king, because it was a discussion together, and I saw his attachment, his willingness to have this project, and I'm very happy to make it with you, Mr. Prime Minister, dear Keir, my friend. We decided, and I want to thank our two special envoys, Mr. Bilateral and Riquet, for the great job you did together on behalf of the two governments and the two nations. Thank you. But I have to say that beyond your work, I want to thank and compliment our two Ministers of Culture, because we went beyond the experts and we managed to find great solutions. So merci, Mesdames les Ministres. And I want to thank the British Museum, because the day you decided not just to welcome the Bayeux tapestry, but to say, let's look at certain who, let's look at how we can have, in fact, not just a loan, but exchange, create a new way to show to your people our own treasure. It unlocked everything. And the power of such an institution is wonderful. And I'm very happy about the great relations you have with the Louvre. And I hope that many projects will be organized by these two highest institutions. And I want to thank Bayeux, his mayor, clearly the museum and the whole team. And from the very beginning, the team, I would say, in Bayeux was very much in support of this approach. And this exchange will be organized between, I speak under your control, June 26 and June 27, broadly speaking, or June, September. And it will be a unique occasion to have millions of visitors coming here, and millions of visitors between Rouen and Caen in these two museums to visit precisely and discover certain who and some of the remarkable pieces you just presented to us. So really I want to thank this team who made possible, feasible, these loans and this exchange. My last word is to say, Mr. Prime Minister, you expressed how much important are our links and our future projects for our two countries, for Europe, and in these hectic times, for the rest of the world. And I strongly believe that culture is part of them. I strongly believe that as long as we will have people dedicated to life, to create, to share, to defend culture in our countries, to invent new spaces for that, and to have indeed sculptors, architects, creators, curators, we will be very special for the rest of the world, because there is no equivalent of that. And this type of tools are unbeatable. There is no trade war or tariffs against this kind of approach. And there is no new imperialism vis-à-vis this type of approach, because there is no barriers, there is no borders, by definition. And I'm so happy to see so many young people being here in this museum and working very hard for your culture, our culture, and universalism I mentioned. And, you know, I reminded everybody yesterday that obviously the tapestry recounts very epic events, and you refer to them with William the Conqueror, but the story is unfinished, and nobody knows the end. And nobody knows if the end of a tapestry was just once written and presented, or never existed. But this is our work, our duty and our chance to be in this position to finish the tapestry. And to be sure that by allowing the tapestry to take the same road at these warriors, but with another state of mind and in the opposite way, that together we will build a new page of our common history and create a new era based on culture, knowledge, respect, science, and centuries and centuries of enlightenment creations, and I would say friendship. So thank you very much. In a few months' time, to welcome the Bayeux Tapestry. And thank you very much to allow us to welcome, at the same moment, certain who treasures and some of your wonderful pieces of art in Rouen and Caen, because it will be the best symbol of our common work together and the fact that we are totally committed to this work in common, hand in hand, to be sure that the United Kingdom and France will put their energy to build, let's say, a better place, a better world dedicated to these values. Thank you very much.
Monsieur le Président, Prime Minister, Madame Macron, Lady Starmer, it is fantastic to have you here today at the British Museum. You know, in front of any other head of state in the world, we would say, welcome to the greatest museum in the world. In front of the President of France, we say, welcome to one of the two greatest museums in the world. And to our Prime Minister, it is fantastic to have our local MP with us, and you have done lots for us over the years you have represented this constituency. Now, when the British Museum was founded in 1753, it was the world's first national public museum. It was founded by Parliament, separate from the Crown. It was not a royal collection, it wasn't an aristocratic collection, it wasn't a religious collection. It was a collection owned by the public, for the public, open to all and free to all. And that guiding principle has remained with us over the last couple of centuries. It is as much a product of the British Enlightenment as Voltaire and les droits de l'homme are of the French Enlightenment, the two great movements that shaped the early modern world. And you could say the idea of this museum has been as influential as any of the amazing objects inside it. So, Mr. President, I applaud the project that you have announced to reshape Le Louvre. It's a fantastic project. As you say, we're about to undergo a huge redevelopment and representation of our collection in the Western Range over there. It is the largest single cultural project in Britain today. I want to thank Keir Starmer's government and Lisa Nandy, the Secretary of State, for the consistent and generous financial support that they are giving. And I think it's fitting to note that the brilliant architect who won our global competition, Lina Gottmer, who is here today, is based in Paris. It's important that here and at the Louvre, both these projects succeed. It is the point that the President was making about universalism, because in an age where there are so many forces that are seeking to divide us and tell us why we are different from our neighbour, these great universal museums remind us about what we share in common and what binds us. And that is what next year's spectacular exhibitions here and in France will do. Now, much has been said about the Bayeux Tapestry. Here is the simple fact. There is no single object in our long history that is as famous, as studied in schools, as copied by artists, as instantly recognizable as the Bayeux Tapestry. And there is no other date in history like 1066. It is the one date everyone in Britain knows. And yet, in almost 1,000 years, the tapestry has never returned to these shores. The President was giving us some of the explanation for why that has not yet happened. And I'm sure it's not because the French like a permanent reminder of when they beat the Brits. But next year, for 1 year only, it will be back here. Many, many thousands will come to see it, including so many school children who we have with us today. Let me thank, on the British side, all those who made this possible, to our Director, Nick Cullinan, Jill Maggs, our Director of Programming here, and the team here, Lisa Nandy, Chris Bryant, did a fantastic job with Peter Ricketts on the diplomacy. And I think a special thanks to the friends in the museum in Bayeux who've been so welcoming to this idea. This is a once-in-a-generation exhibition. There's always one exhibition that eclipses all others of its generation. There was Tutankhamun's mask, there was the terracotta warriors. This is the blockbuster show of our generation. I think it will grip the imagination of the nation, just as I hope the people of France will fall for the romance of the warrior ship burial at Sutton Hoo and those extraordinary chessmen discovered on the wild Isle of Lewis. And this mutual loan of some of our greatest national treasures shows what museums like ours can do with a little determination, a little trust, and a little imagination. And let it serve as a model to others. It's a symbol of the friendship between Britain and France. And let me say this in conclusion. Mr. President, Prime Minister, congratulations to you both on bringing some sanity and fraternity back to the relationship between our two great nations. For that is exactly what we both and the world needs more of right now. Thank you. We are going to... Can I invite onto the stage our two Ministers of Culture, Lisa Nandy and Madame Dati, and the Director of the British Museum, Nick Cullen, who will sign the agreement.